to our last group of the evening, Symphonic Band. We're going to begin with a tune called Winter Games. This was the theme from the 1988 Winter Olympics, and since we have the Winter Games coming up very soon, I thought it'd be a great time to play this one. So please welcome Mr. Wallace to the stage with Winter Games. While they're resetting, this next piece is called Old Churches by a composer with the name of Michael Colgrass. I'm really thankful to all the students in the Symphonic Band because they've been willing to work with me on my master's project, which I am hoping to complete by this summer, which this project is all about implementing music history in band class, which probably to most of you doesn't sound like the most exciting thing, but to me, I'm super geeked about it. And so my goal here was, okay, how can we talk about this stuff without boring them completely and integrating it into a performance? So last year we did a piece from the Renaissance period. This year the Symphonic Band is doing a piece from what's called early music or the medieval era. So I have a couple students who are going to come up and explain a little bit about what we learned when we kind of studied this inspiration of this piece. Just for context, this is a modern piece. This was written, I think it was 2003, but it's inspired by medieval music. So music when it just began to notate music. Up until this point, it was all just passed down by ear. And then we started to write things down. So students who are introducing this, come on up to the mic.
Hello, I am Rowan. I play percussion. Michael Polgrass was a composer and percussionist known for incorporating jazz, world music, and modern techniques into his music, along with rigid classical and popular styles. He's important for his innovative approach to music education and performance psychology, making him a versatile figure in the 20th century music. Michael Polgrass was born in Illinois on April 22, 1932, and died in Canada on July 2nd, 2019, at the age of 87, after a battle with cancer. He composed many pieces, over 30 published works listed in major catalogs, spanning orchestra, chamber, solo, vocal music, and reflects his jazz interest in his pieces. He died in 2019.
I'm Jackson. I play the saxophone. Polgrass's compositional style is very texture-driven with experimental elements, spatial effects, and aleatoric passages. Aleatoric means music with elements of randomness and unpredictability. His style was also influenced by him being a percussionist. This is shown through his emphasis on rhythmic color and layering, unconventional sound and extended techniques, and a creative use of timbre across the ensemble.
Hi, I'm Sophie. I play trumpet. Old Churches relates to the medieval music era, which is the earliest major era of Western music. The medieval era began shortly after the fall of Rome and lasted until the Renaissance. Music during this time was commonly connected to the church, hence the name Old Churches. An element of the medieval era that can be found in old churches is Gregorian or plain chant, which Polgrass uses in this song.
Hi, I'm Raella, and I play the clarinet, and several of the components used within the medieval era can be seen in our next piece, Old Churches. Some of these unique elements include vocal imitations, drone tones, and a heartbeat-like tempo. Each of these parts come together throughout the piece to create a feeling of uncertainty and mystery, almost as if you were alone in an old church.
He died about 6 or 7 years ago, by the way.
I thought I crossed that part out. What? Thanks, Ron. Thank you to all of you for speaking in front of the audience. Awesome. The students don't know this, but I'm going to show you a couple things. So students, listen up. Percussion. Can you play some of those interesting techniques that Jackson, I think it was Jackson who was talking about it. We have kitchen bowls that the composer said to play in back. So percussion, can you play on those bowls with a piece of wood? So not even a mallet. Go ahead and try that percussion. That's part of the piece. Yeah. Woodwinds who murmur. Can you murmur? So listen, you'll hear this in the piece. Ready? Go. That's part of it. Clarinets. Can you play second clarinets? Can you play your first note that you have that drone? That's a written B and an F sharp, I think. Here we go. Play that. If you're on second clarinet, ready? Go. Good. So those are just a couple of the examples of the things that Michael Polgrass has used. So we hope you enjoy this. This is Old Churches. participants. First of all, I'd like to thank the band boosters, our school administrators, and let's give a big hand to Mr. Taylor and all the auditorium staff up there to make everything possible. And also, let's give a big round of applause to Mr. Wallace. A couple of upcoming events to know about. On January 24th, this is a huge honor for our school. On January 24th, we have 3 All-State Band students who will be performing in the Michigan All-State Band. The process to audition for this is incredibly competitive. There was probably, I think it was somewhere in the high 2000s, close to 3,000 students across all of the All-State ensembles to audition. And we had 3 from Western High School make it into that All-State honor band. Huge honor. It was a blind audition, and so I would like to recognize these 3 students individually. Our first is a trombone player who is second chair in the entire state for the All-State honor band. Taylor, could you please stand up? We have a trumpet player, Asher Beck. Congratulations. And a percussionist, Rowan Van Summer. These 3 students have worked incredibly hard, and so we're excited to see them perform with the All-State Band in Grand Rapids on January 24th. Also, at the end of January, solo ensemble at Tecumseh High School, January 31st. February 5th, we have the Chili Jazz Dinner. February 11th through 16th is the upcoming Disney trip. We're excited for that. And on February 19th is the pre-festival concert. Next up, we are going to finish with a really cool and interesting piece. It's called Minor Alterations, Christmas Through the Looking Glass. So, all of these pieces are famous Christmas tunes, except with a twist, they're all in minor keys. So it's really very cool and interesting. We were rehearsing this, and there's a harp part written in the music. And we've been practicing, and it was like, it sounds kind of empty in some of these spots because the harp part is supposed to do all these things. And we didn't have a harp player here at Western High School. So I asked my cousin, who's going to come out on stage right now, a professional musician, would you be willing to play harp with the Western High School Symphonic Band? And she said yes. So could you please welcome out my cousin Michelle, who's going to join our students on the harp. And this is Minor Alterations. Please enjoy.